Hi everyone, and welcome to the Fake Love and Flying Monkeys podcast. My name's Nova Gibson and I am your host. My area of expertise is in supporting victims and survivors of narcissistic abuse and other toxic relationships. I'm the principal counsellor at Brighter Outlook Narcissistic Abuse Counselling Service, and I'm also the author of Fake Love, Understanding and Healing from Narcissistic Abuse. In this podcast, we're going to be talking about everything from the initial pink cloud you find yourself on at the start through to the horrific discard and the powerful trauma bond that keeps you hooked. So take your imaginary seat on the roller coaster that is narcissistic abuse, and don't forget to subscribe to this podcast so you never miss an episode of Fake Love and Flying Monkeys. Hi everyone, and welcome to another episode of Fake Love and Flying Monkeys. How many of you listening to this podcast today have tried to co-parent with a narcissistic ex? You realize that the relationship is over, and as painful as that was, you realize you share children together and you want to do the right thing by your children by establishing some kind of co-parenting relationship with the ex, the other parent of your children. There's nothing you can do to change the fact that this person who is your abuser is the other parent to your children, and you want to do the right thing for your children's sake by setting up some kind of positive relationship with that parent so that you can have a free flow of information and the children will be affected in the least negative way and will be able to go from one house to the other with two parents who both have the best interests of the children in the forefront of their mind. And this is your goal. Much of the time, your toxic ex will share custody of your children. So it's in yours and their best interest to work out some kind of routine that will suit you both. Now, some narcissists in the beginning will appear to be quite agreeable in setting out to work on what we call a parenting plan. Now, a parenting plan is an agreement on paper between the two parents where you come up with a routine that will suit you both, but it is not enforceable by law. So it really relies on both parents adhering to what they have agreed upon in that parenting plan. Now, as we all know, narcissists do not like being told what to do. They especially don't like being told what to do with their property. And that is how they view their children. Their children belong to them, and they will not take it lightly when someone else is telling them what to do. So if they appear agreeable in the beginning in signing that parenting plan, many of you will now know, looking back at that time that you signed it, you will now know that the narcissist had no intention of following through with what they agreed to. They just wanted your signature on that bit of paper, and it was only a matter of time before your plans went out the window and the narcissist began doing what they want, ruining any kind of plans, holidays, arrangements that you make just to make your life hell. In essence, the children are a connection to you. They are the property of the narcissist in their mind, and a parenting plan is not worth the paper it's written on, because the narcissist in the end is going to do exactly as they please. This is why I always advise my clients and all my followers to seek orders, court orders. If you have a narcissistic ex, that is the parent of your children, at least orders are enforceable by law. Now, does that mean that our flawed family court system is going to jump to attention every time the narcissist breaches those orders? I can just hear some of you laughing out there. No, they are certainly not going to jump to attention the first time. But what orders do is they give you the ability to parallel parent with your toxic ex. Now, we're going to be talking about parallel parenting and court orders a bit later on. But to begin with, let's look at what happens when you have to try and co-parent with someone whose only goal is to actively counter-parent everything that you do. So co-parenting can be difficult when there's two people who have separated and the children are living in two different households and those parents are not disordered. Now, throw a narcissist in the mix and everything goes out the window. A narcissist uses your attempts to co-parent with them as a means to extend the domestic violence, to extend their coercive control, and basically to control you forever and to make sure that you are never happy, and of course that they are always inside your head and that you never ever forget about them. The children, as I said earlier, are a connection to you and they are a potent source of narcissistic supply, and they will be the collateral damage in their quest to continue their abuse towards you. So for those of you out there who are doing everything to try and get this person to put their children first and are just so frustrated and stressed because you simply can't do that, and this person ignores your emails, or if they do answer your emails where you're simply trying to get information so that you can do what's best for your children and make it arrangements for your children. For those of you who are trying everything in your power to make this work, you're probably saying to yourself, well, what the hell do I do then? I share children with this person and I need to be able to make it work. What do I do? Give me the answers. And for those of you who do put your children first, because that's what we do as a parent, as a normal, loving parent. We put our children first, and it's just incredibly frustrating when you can't seem to make this other person, the person you share children with, do the same. So I wish that I could give you this magic template that would make this person change and have them the loving parent who realizes that even though the two of you are not together, the pair of you need to work together as a team to do what is best for children and to make sure that your children have their needs met. I wish I could give you that magic template, but I can't. A narcissist is always going to put themselves first, and that means the children are irrelevant in their quest to control you. And narcissists do not engage in teamwork. And teamwork means cooperation, collaboration, two parents coming together as a united front to do what's best for their children. Now, do you ever remember being able to have a reasonable discussion with the narcissist when you were together? Of course not. So that is not going to magically change. In fact, it is going to get 1,000 times worse because you've committed the most egregious sin of being able to live without them. You now experience major panic attacks or anxiety attacks, or your knees begin to shake when you think of having to text or email the narcissist to try and get something for your children, or to try and organize something like a passport, or maybe them being able to play in a soccer team, or join some sort of a club where they need both parents' signatures. Your knees shake at the thought of having to ask the other parent for what you need. And they shake for a reason. And that's because you now know every time you try to communicate with this person, they will put you through hell. They will tell you that your children don't need that, and that you're wanting this money, if it's child support, for yourself, you're greedy, or that you're trying to rip them off because the children have everything they need and your requests are unreasonable. Your knees shake because these fears are grounded in the reality of historical abuse. The narcissist does not want you to have peace and harmony in your life. They want to do everything in their power to put roadblocks in the way. And of course, they do not want you to have happy, healthy relationships with your children. They want to destroy any quality time you have with your children. They will strive to alienate the children from you and prevent you from establishing or keeping loving bonds with them, because that makes them not only envious but angry that their children, their property, are betraying them, in inverted commas, by being happy with you, the other parent. The narcissistic parent will use any attempt that you engage in to co-parent with them as an opportunity to secure narcissistic supply from you, by gaslighting you, by sabotaging your plans. Perhaps you've got a parenting plan where there is an agreement that if you have a special occasion coming up, or some kind of memorable event that is really important for the children to attend, and you can't predict these times, that the other parent will make every reasonable attempt for the children to be able to go with you. And the first time you ask them if you can have the children on their week to attend maybe a very sad occasion like a loved one's funeral, and you're met with the narcissist saying something like, "No, that's my week, and you were rude to me on the phone last week, so no, you are not getting the children, and besides, I have plans on that day." And then you find out later the children were doing nothing except sitting around playing on their PlayStation. Or perhaps you've tried to enroll the children in a soccer team, and you and the narcissistic ex both know soccer is their favorite game, and yet they're denying you being able to sign your child up. You need two parents' signatures perhaps, or maybe it's a passport. They're denying you their signature. They're telling you, no, I'm not going to be taking them on my week because it doesn't suit my schedule. Take them every second week on your week when you have them. Now, sports games like soccer and footy and netball are weekly games. We all know this. But the narcissist makes it sound like taking your child every second week would be something that was possible. And clearly, the children's needs go out the window in order to punish you. And of course, you're going to be the one that has to console the children and to try and pick up the pieces when they're inevitably disappointed because they can't play their sport. And you will have the narcissist gaslighting the children with statements like, well, your mother or your father did the wrong thing because they didn't check in with me first, even though they knew that this was their child's favorite game and you had actually mentioned it prior. They will be gaslighting the children, telling them that it's your fault that they can't play in that team or they can't go on their holiday because they don't have a passport. Now, for those of you who have read my book, Fake Love, Understanding and Healing from Narcissistic Abuse, you will remember this example that I use. Now, for those of you who haven't, picture little Johnny who needs braces. The non-disordered parent with their knees shaking messages the toxic parent, and eventually that toxic parent answers the phone or sends an email back saying something like, I don't believe little Johnny needs braces. You and your cosmetic procedures, his teeth are fine. If you want him to have braces, then you go and pay for them yourself. Now, even if you could get them to agree to something like braces, you know that the pain and the frustration in trying to get regular payments out of that parent, it just wouldn't be worth it. You end up paying the bill yourself. You know that the narcissist is not going to say something like, oh my goodness, thank you for bringing that to my attention. Yes, his teeth are a little crooked. Which bank account would you like me to put the money into? Of course, they're never going to say anything like that. But that's just an example of how futile it is to have arrangements like child support where you have to rely on the goodwill of that parent to put the money into your account and to not put you through hell when you ask for it. You are relying on the narcissist to be nice and reasonable. You're relying on them to be someone who is the complete opposite of whom they are. I hear terrible stories from my clients where they had this agreement with child support that the victim parent will perhaps go and buy all the children's clothes and then they'll send the bills to the narcissist who agreed that they would then reimburse them for the money that they have spent. Now, guys, you will know after all the heartache that you've been through that the narcissist is going to put you through hell. You spent too much money. The children didn't actually need that, or they'll make you wait, and you will spend so much of your time thinking out what to write in that email so that it sounds just right, and that you don't set the narcissist off, and so that you can have your needs met. You spend all that time prior to messaging them trying to work out how to write it just the right way, which is not normal, guys. And then you spend all of this time trying to recover from their gaslighting you and outright denying you for what you're entitled to in trying to parent the children when you have them. The narcissistic parent wants to put so many roadblocks in the way so that you're not happy with your children. So what you end up finding out is that when you do ask the narcissist for anything that is for the children, you're actually giving them a weapon to use against you, because you've told them what's important to you. It doesn't matter that it's for their children. They just see it as something for you, and they take great delight in denying you what you want. So we've got to come up with other ways of getting what you need without just asking, which is what you would do if you were dealing with a normal person. Now, to start with, talking about child support again, guys, please use a system where their child support is taken from their account, or their wages are garnished, so that you never have to negotiate with the narcissist and prove to them that what you were asking for the children is appropriate. Get their wages garnished. Now, I know that so many of you will really, really be struggling to get any child support, because the narcissist, in their despicable ways, has told the tax department that they earn practically nothing. Their business is self-owned and it's not doing very well at the moment. So they give themselves this very, very small wage, which means you get absolutely zero or not much above it to support your children. Now, that is something you're going to have to take up with the tax department, because this is what narcissists do. And they won't even have the tax department, let alone you, telling them how much they should be paying when they work so hard for their money. Orders are going to also help you to put rock solid boundaries in place, so that you have an agreement that is legally binding, where eventually there will be consequences for your narcissistic ex. Yes, they are not foolproof, and yes, the court will wait till they've breached, however many times before it is actioned and the narcissist is punished for going against those orders. But you document, and you write down every tiny little breach, so that when you do get your day in court, you have all of this evidence to prove why the narcissist is someone that you cannot co-parent with, and you need extra help in making those orders even less flexible or stricter, with the I's dotted, the T's crossed, so there is no room for the narcissist to do what they want and go outside of those orders. And of course, further punishment in that their time is lessened with their children, or they don't get the children at all if they can't follow these court orders. When you get your court orders, This is going to enable you to engage in another plan that we call parallel parenting. This is a system that you will engage in when you simply can't co-parent with someone who is counter-parenting everything you do. Parallel parenting means you do what you do with the children on your weeks, and the narcissistic parent does what they do with the children on their weeks, and any kind of overlap is factored into those court orders. It means that you have no contact with the toxic narcissistic parent. You do not have to talk to your ex simply because you share children. Get a parenting app which will also record everything, and it will be taken to the court. It can be read out in court, which is going to deter the narcissist from abusing you, and record everything they say or write. Parallel parenting enables you to have these boundaries where you can relax a little because you don't have to negotiate. Now, you do not have to give that toxic parent 24-hour a day access to you because you share children. Block them on your phone. This might be a little difficult when you're in the lead up to court proceedings because the family court is so flawed and doesn't understand personality disorders. But definitely after you have those orders, block them on your phone. Use your parenting app. Now, if the narcissist says what they always say, and you might be thinking yourself, what do we do if there's an emergency? Give the narcissist an emergency contact number. Your mother, your partner, a friend, and that person will be the go-between. Now, if it's only about the children, why should it matter? It is such a relief for victims when they tell me they did this and they can get through a day of work without knowing the toxic parent is going to message them for something ridiculous just to get you engaging with them. If you have young children and they need to speak to the other parent at night, you come up with a schedule that allows you predictability, stability, and consistency. They're in your home. And if you're stressed, that flows down to the children. You come up with a time that suits you. Maybe it's after bath time. Maybe it's before school when they can get over the manipulations of that parent during their school day. But you come up with a plan that suits you. Now, if you block them on your phone, get a landline. You know that if you've said they can call, say, between 7 and 7:15 at night, when that landline goes off, it will only be the narcissist. If they call outside those times, they're breaching those orders. This is a system that, once again, is going to give you stability, consistency, and predictability. And it's also going to enable you to heal because you don't have to hear their voice. Now, all of this is going to be useless if you've still got to see them at pickups and drop-offs. So come up with a system where you don't have to. Pickups and drop-offs from schools, from, say, a parent's house, from a supervision clinic. If it's on school holidays, you come up with another arrangement. But this person is your abuser, and every time you see them at a pickup or drop-off, you're going to spend 3 nights anticipating it and not being able to sleep, or 3 nights not being able to sleep because you're recovering from seeing them. So pickups and drop-offs, think about them very carefully because this person is your abuser. These are not ideal situations, but you can't help the fact that this person is a narcissist, and you being relaxed and not having those major panic attacks, that is what is going to benefit the children. Not seeing you with your knees shaking, standing next to that toxic parent at your children's soccer game, so that your children think that everything's okay, because the children know that everything is not okay. They feel it, and believe me, they would rather you stand apart than have that anxiety in seeing their toxic parent and you, the victim, coming together for their soccer game. The narcissist thrives off your pain, and they get potent narcissistic supply from you when they create drama and chaos in your life when you're trying to co-parent with them, which is absolutely impossible. Parallel parenting is going to give you room to breathe, but it's not foolproof. You are going to have to risk manage some situations that you simply can't predict. But basically, you want to go grey rock. Grey rock is what we call it when you are giving them no reaction, just like a robot or a rock that sits there doing nothing. Basically, by going grey rock, you want to be as boring as you possibly can be, no reaction, so that the narcissist goes elsewhere for their supply. Guys, this is going to take practice, and the narcissist is going to be mad when you start putting boundaries in place and taking away their ability to manipulate you, their ability to control you, to continue to abuse you via the children. They're going to be mad, so you have to expect that. But if you have blocked them everywhere, then what have they got? They've got a parenting app to abuse you by, and you're going to give that information to your lawyer, to the court, and maybe even the police. So if there's anyone out there who is still with the belief that if you just come up with the right method, if you just say and do the right things, you will be able to co-parent with this person who is your abuser and who is the other parent of your children. If you still have this belief, then guys, you are going to continue to be in that place where you can't heal and you've got anxiety all the time, and that you continue to walk on eggshells. So stop trying to co-parent with someone who is a bully and whose only interest in the children is to get to you. Guys, take advantage of third parties. Get orders. If you haven't got them, then go and talk to a lawyer about getting orders in place, and you get those I's dotted and the T's crossed where there is no flexibility. You think of every contingency that could happen between now and when the children are 18, and you have them factored into those orders. Ask for help so that you can parent the children as best as you can, and that the children have at least one home where they don't have to walk on eggshells, and that they have one parent who is free from anxiety and is happy. The children don't want a perfect parent. The children want and crave a happy parent. You can't be that parent that you want to be to your children when your narcissistic ex is continuing to control you. Okay, that brings us to the end of another episode of Fake Love and Flying Monkeys. Thanks for sticking with me to the end, guys. Today, we talked a lot about co-parenting with a narcissist and the futility of it. We talked about the fact that it's impossible. And what the narcissist does every time you try to do the right thing for your children by trying to co-parent with them. We talked about another strategy where you are able to put very firm boundaries in place and throw co-parenting out the window, and we call this technique parallel parenting. We also talked about parenting plans and how useless they are with a narcissist, and how court orders will give you the ability to put very strict boundaries in place. Now, to summarize this episode, guys, in essence, co-parenting with a narcissist is impossible. They will counter-parent everything you try to do. Co-parenting is impossible, and you are going to need to reach out to your loved ones, to a lawyer, to the court, to get orders and to make plans to go grey rock with your toxic ex, which will give you room to breathe and room to heal from the abuse. So on that note, it's bye from me for now. Don't forget, guys, to leave a review. Reviews and shares, that's the way you can help me to keep this channel going, and I love reading your reviews. Don't forget also to follow me on my other social media platforms, and of course, if you'd like to have a one-on-one session with me, just leave a message on email on my website, or you can message me here, and I'd love to be able to support you in a one-on-one counseling session. And of course, don't forget to grab your copy of my best-selling book, Fake Love, Understanding and Healing from Narcissistic Abuse by HarperCollins. Okay, guys, remember, until next week, until the next episode, remember, you are worthy of love, and you are certainly worthy of a whole lot more than a lifetime of fake love and flying monkeys.